Welcome to Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the fifth dimension.
Welcome to another episode of Merkaba Chakras. I'm your host, Vaughn Galt, and today we explore the starseed phenomenon, where it seems an abundance of old alien souls from other planets, dimensions, and galaxies are reincarnating during the 21st century Earth timeline. Why? What is their purpose, and how do they factor into humanity's transition into becoming an interstellar, multidimensional civilization? So, we're going to uncover some answers from Starseed computer programmer and author Nur Akman so where are we with reality now? So with that, nerd, welcome to Merkaba Chakras.
Thank you. It was great to see you again, and thank you so much for having me here.
Oh, thank you for taking the invitation. I love this. So I talk about star seeds, which is the popularized term now for a very ancient topic in Buddhism called Tulku. And in Buddhism, toku is a term for ancient souls, and they kind of wrap all of these different phenomenon in the past, and it goes all the way back to Hinduism as well, to Vedic Hinduism, and it's basically starseed souls, souls from the spirit world, souls straight from source, that's never reincarnated, ancient souls from way mature universes and galaxies that for whatever reason have decided to do a service and incarnate into a younger galaxy to kind of help them transition their consciousness. And so there's a lot of different varieties. So we just wrap the whole phenomenon into this concept of toku, which is not a new phenomenon. In Buddhism and Hinduism, these old reincarnations are not new. They're actually very ancient. But I love the renewal of it, and it's been renewed with indigos and crystals and from the 60s and 70s from various authors. It's also been renewed in the late Dolores Cannon, who's an author and a hypnotist of over 40 years. She's been her life doing this. And I actually use her modality. And she talks about the 3 waves of volunteers to explain the purpose and the 3 waves of why they're incarnating in abundance at this time. And this is a new phenomenon because in Buddhism and Hinduism, toku have come in the past, but a little here and there, but now there's this huge surge. So it's not an alien invasion because we all are reincarnated souls from different experiences in the past. But something's going on that there's such an abundance of these ancient souls coming in with some memory and recall. So a little bit of a long background, but I wanted to explain this phenomenon for people who don't really know its origins in Buddhism and Hinduism. But so now we're caught up. So we're talking to you, and Nur, can you tell us how did you discover that you're a starseed or toku indigo, whatever people want to call them? How did you discover you're one of these ancient souls?
Yeah, I always love to read about anything spirituality, and I go time to time the internet to look at what is new, what's going on. And I was just seeing the word starseeds, and I wonder what it is. And years, of course, like a more material came. There are the tests. If you are from this starseed system, there are the tests, and then it came to a point that I have to really learn as a fact. And so I said, okay, Akashic record reading will be the answer. And I talked to actually a few people. So that's how I learned I was a starseed. I was already suspicious because after reading so much, it's like, this is just like so me. I'm already so stick out. Maybe that's why.
Mm-hmm.
So I learned that I'm from Arcturus.
And what is Arcturus?
Yeah, these are the oldest star systems. So what is said that the most of the alien star seeds on Earth are coming somewhere from in the same galaxy, the Milky Way.
Mm-hmm.
But there are some of them coming from other galaxies or out of the universe. So Arcturus is one of those star system that inside of this here in Milky Way. But under the QHHT hypnosis, I saw actually where I was before coming. And so I saw that I was 2 layers outside of the environment that the universe stays. So it's outside of the universe, but far, far further. And then my entrance for the universe was the Arcturus.
So your entrance, so let me explain this.
So it starts from much, much further place.
Okay, so QHHT is the late hypnosis and author Dolores Cannon that we spoke about, and that's the hypnosis technique that you had used along with other Akashic record readings just to verify some of the memories, the inclinations that you had growing up. And it was all starting to say the same thing. It was all starting to
yes. So one of them said that you are from Arcturus, and another one said that you are a blueprint originator, and we don't know where they come from. So when you add it up, and then also in another QHHT hypnosis, I saw my alien body. So that was like matching with the pictures with the on the internet when we look at the Arturians. Some of them are not right, and because the Arcturus, the one that I saw, we have, for example, 3 fingers. And some of them is like 4 fingers on the internet, but generally speaking, like the same shape. And I also remember that when I was like around teenager, I was seeing some aliens in my dreams. They were showing and teaching me some stuff. And
what were they teaching you?
Mentors. Yes, they were. I don't remember so many details, but I remember that they had. We were seeing the Earth, like a splitting the Earth, and then there's some conversations, and then they were sometimes getting frustrated that you are forgetting, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" I was like, because I was so young and I didn't know anything. And then I didn't know the star seeds, the aliens, what they are. All I knew that it was so normal to talk to them and see them. But when I opened my eyes, like go back to normal life, I didn't tell anybody because nobody was talking something like that. So I didn't have anybody to talk to. But they also, how they look like the Arturians.
Okay. So let me rephrase this. So you did some QHHT, did some Akashic records reading, and they all say that your soul originate out of the Arcturus star system. Did your soul come through a portal, or what does it come to before you get into your human body?
Yeah, so that was I didn't see that part, but what I saw that under in the Los Angeles, I got the group hypnosis, and there I saw the Stargate. So
okay, what does it look like?
That is Stargate, the same like in the movies, but there's a difference. Like the outside the ring part was much thinner, and the material was definitely not something on Earth. It was very dark gray, looks like a metal, but different texture, and it had some decoration around it. If you look at the internet, the movie, there was a Stargate TV series. There was like an upside down triangle, red colors on the sections, and they were not red color. There was not different color. They were all, everything was gray, and inside part was like almost like very, very dark gray, magnetic area. Like even under the hypnosis, I thought that I was built just sucked in and then go there. What happened is the hypnosis was almost about to be over, and I didn't have any experience for the hypnosis. I don't know if I need to, but I just couldn't be hypnotized. So I was so frustrated with myself. I opened my eyes and I was just waiting to the last maybe 1 or 2 minutes, she was just about to close. I says, okay, I'm just gonna open my eyes and just sit and wait here. And then suddenly, like a this size vision open. That's what I saw. That's a very strong magnet. And when I talked to one galactic Akashic reader, I said, this is maybe the Stargate that the arturianos have. Because according to her, they said that there are 2 major stargates. One of them is this one. This one is the one that when we come to here, we cross it. So I was also thinking, you know, like, for example, if there was a very big magnet, and then if we get, you know, like very close to our laptop, let's say, right? It's all memory is erased, magnets. And maybe that's like that, like a really magnetic area. Maybe that's how our memories are erased. But still something, you know, stays. Like I have some memories from the past lives. And or something is in, you know, sometimes triggered. But some people absolutely doesn't remember anything.
Right. So the Arcturus Stargate in which your soul came through, is that existing at a higher dimension than physical third?
So.
Okay.
Think so.
So it's in a higher dimension.
It's
so
like a kind of like a soul. But if you ask like how, what I also saw that when I was seeing the other world, like between lives they called just before coming here. And it's a long story. It's probably maybe for 2, but I will just say very little about the end part. And my soul was just about to come to Earth. Just coming that part, I saw that my soul, and then the like a pixels, you know, like a TV pixels kind of thing. Those pixels are started coming and then getting much closer, and suddenly I saw my hands, like looks like a human hands. Above my soul, and then I see like these lines coming in, and I was like looking at like what's happening, and then the legs, and then that's how I saw that the soul and then the human body looking is merging. And when it's like pretty much just done, and then we just came like it's kind of like, it's funny like how the movies are, but just there was a place that we are coming to the Earth. I just went there, and then I just jumped, and that's where it's finished.
Okay, so your soul came through from Arcturus star system through a higher dimensional Stargate, and you traveled to like you saw the Earth in a distance. It was pixelated, and then you eventually all of a sudden popped into your baby body in the uterus and just started seeing your hands.
No. That's happened before I came to the Earth. Before, like on the other world.
Okay.
That's the other world. So what's happening is before I was about like 6 years old, and then from the first days I was born, I was keep seeing the same dream, and it was between lives. So that's how I saw it. And then it was just before coming in the very end. Like we made the decisions, we made this, okay, this is my parents, I'm going here, all other everything, and the time is coming. Then there was a merging.
Okay, so you kind of get a little bit of a preview of what I don't know if you want to call it your mission or your next incarnation is going to be.
Probably, yeah. So,
okay.
So it says that.
So when you had incarnated as a human right now, but have you had any other incarnations that you recall of as well before being an earthly human?
Yes, so according to Akashic records, the entrance to this universe were the Arcturus. Then my first mission was in the Lyra. I was, as a technical and then as a consultant there. And then when there was a war, I survived and I moved to Palladians. And then
and what was the war over? What was the war over?
These are all, they're for the bad sides. It's the reptilians. They say that they came from another universe and started to take over the places. And then these are, the nice beings. And then it's easy to, just take over those places. So in those times, I was still using, according to her, I was still using my Arcturian body.
Mm-hmm.
Paladin time again, and then she gave even the planets names, which planets I was working as a technical person, and then which ones as a healer. Then I moved to Orion star system, and then
Okay.
yeah.
So when you were because I'm going to ask
Sure.
you more questions to
Sure.
further explain different things.
Sure.
So apologies if I interrupt a little bit, because I want to get before we go too far along, I want to get the details. So you had incarnated originally out of Arcturus, and then you incarnate, and which is I'm Arcturus as well. That's when my soul originated. Yeah, I know. My soul originated out of Arcturus. But then, you know, I have incarnated into many other different experiences before going back to source, or back forth, whatever. I call these different lifetimes excursions. There's just many little excursions. Some people can make them a vacation. Some people can make them a lot of hard work. It really just depends on what the intention of the soul is interested in. But so you incarnated out Arcturus, then you incarnated again. So you did another life cycle in Orion. And is it the same whenever you incarnate to another I don't know, alien species or planet or dimension? Do you still go through the same kind of life planning process where you pick your parents, you pick your
Yes.
it is the same. Okay. So in Orion, you had come through as a Lyran from the Lyra galaxy.
It's, I think in that time when I came to the Orion, I started to have the humanoid body. So that's what she said. So I'm guessing that whoever, you know, like how, because the Orion, this is like a melting pot, like very, very different, so many different races.
Mm-hmm.
So probably I looked like one of them, just the Orion people.
Okay. So so in that time you were a healer and a tech personnel, and you were helping people who were negatively affected by some kind of galactic war that was going on. There was some kind of conquering of planets, and you said it was from the reptilian species. They were going through different universes trying to conquer different universes.
Yeah.
Okay. And do they only conquer universes, or they try to also conquer dimensions and realities?
I mean, I saw some of the reptilians in higher dimensions, and I believe that they were more than the fourth dimension. So you can go only so long, you know, so much, and because after a while, probably they just cannot go. You know, like there is a permissions, like, you know, still there's something that you can just go so much. But they are higher, I believe, higher than fourth dimension. The ones that I saw, they were like very aggressive, very bad, very, very scary looking, and they're like in the mission doing something, and they were like a group ones, and I saw the single ones. All of them that I seen was on, these are like either I saw them in the visions, my visions, or in the under other QHHT, but I saw only one of them friendly. So they are really very aggressive, very on the, you know, the dark side, but not all of them are bad.
Not all of them bad. So what is the difference? So some of these so-called reptilian alien races, they some of them have spiritually evolved to be higher dimensional, much nicer and kinder, etc. So, but a majority of them at this time when you were in the Orion,
they were bad. Yes, and then the ones that on the vision I seen, I think they are still like around the earth and affecting some people. I don't think that they were like far away. But the QHHT I've seen, I believe that they were like a past life related in much further times.
Okay.
So yeah, so that is still happening. And then she was saying that that's very common. Like if you're from Arcturus, you most likely to come to Orion and then come to the Earth because like kind of like similar game.
Mm. Hmm.
And,
Okay. So souls kind of pick similar galactic I don't know, pathways. Is it still working out some
experience, I think, because whatever experience you have, that can help the Earth here, because pretty much the same problems here. So I think probably maybe that's the reason.
Okay. Did you incarnate after the Orion Lyrian lifetime? Did you decide to incarnate again into another planet system?
This is all I heard, and after that there is Earth coming.
Okay, so you didn't go to the Pleiades?
Then there was after the Lyra and then Palladians.
Oh, so you did go to the Pleiades?
Yeah, Palladians. Okay. Yeah. So over there.
What did you do there? Yeah.
She told me that the 2 jobs. There were the different star planets. Some of the planets she gave the names, but I don't remember. Some of the planets I worked as a tech person, helping for the technology, and then for the others I worked as a healer, helping to grow them as a spiritually and helping for the healing. And she said that I was working in Arcturus before coming. There is a crystal temple, so that's where I got training and everything. And so the technical part, I also worked on this stargate repairing and maintenance and those kind of jobs. Okay.
Oh wow. So you've and so when you were in the Pleiades star system as a Pleiadian, what happened there? Did they also participate in any of the
there was
galactic feuding?
Yeah, she said that there was a war in that there too, but you survived. You were not involved to the war. Also in Orion, I was not involved. I was not.
What was the war?
These are all for the reptilians attack. They attack, yeah.
So the reptilians attacked them and
this is a long time ago. They were, and even they lost some of their planets. They exploded.
Oh, so they exploded some of the planets. And so what did they do? When these reptilian species in a different galaxy came through and they conquered the Pleiades, what do they do once they conquer a planet?
Yeah, I don't know that's so much because I didn't see them. Like I didn't see as a vision, or I didn't see on the QHHT. I can only, read on the books. But I was thinking of making a much deep down this QHHT and then getting more information for my personal reasons, because they also say that the Arcturus holds the Akashic records. And then if you're Arcturian, you originally have the access to those records. So I was thinking that when I started doing more QHHT and then more meditations and everything, and then I will have more access to that. Okay. So whatever information I get, and I will compare it with the books, and then where we are matching. Right. So you're always kind of double checking, and every single and every single time you are double checking different modalities for information about your starseed origins, they're starting to line up. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. So obviously, when you incarnated as a Pleiadian, you weren't happy with what happened to your lifetime there, and so then your soul decided to incarnate into Earth at this time. Yes. Okay, so you've had a couple incarnations. You said you had some past lives at Earth. What past lives did you have in Earth? So based on all the memories that I remember, and then they told me from Akashic records, it started with the Atlantis, and then Egypt. What was Atlantis like? I don't remember anything. The only thing I know that I also died when it was sinking. And when another Akashic reader, when she was saying, I just saw one glimpse, like one vision came that I was in the water. It was dark, and there was just little bit something that I was seeing behind, like kind of like building, but it's just like there was no place. I was just inside of the water. And she told me that the waves were so big, you struggle a lot, you try to stay alive, but you couldn't. So that's one of the reasons why I have the water phobia actually in this lifetime.
Oh, really? Okay,
have,
so do you still have water phobia now from drowning in the Atlantis?
Yes.
Okay, so you haven't overcome that water phobia in this life. Okay.
Actually, I also have from the the Titanic. So I saw how I died.
So you drowned from the Titanic too? What's up with these lifetimes where you're drowning? You picked I'm seeing a consistent theme of you trying to get over your water issues with drowning.
I still have it. It's much less, but still I have it.
Are you a good swimmer now?
I can swim, but if the water level like above my shoulder, like I cannot put my head under this water.
Okay, always have a floaty with you. Have a floaty with you. If you're in the water, just bring a floaty, or just bring a noodle, a floating noodle with you all the time. Yeah, like I totally get it. I do the same thing. I go on vacation with my kids, and I am the mom, and I have this floating bar with food and drinks, and I just kind of, mom's coming with her floating bar. Here comes the floating picnic, and I just flow out. But no, I totally get it. So you had Atlantis, Titanic. What other past lives have you had?
So I have the one Roman Empire.
What was that like?
It was I was actually a very successful trader, salesperson. And I was in a small town and then going to the big town for the trading.
And you were a man or woman?
Yeah, I was a man. You were a man. And then I was, again, not married, no kids. And then they were trying to actually find someone to make me married. But what I was doing, that I was, so the other traders in the small town was trusting me. So I was negotiating for them too in the big city. And then the people that I negotiate make the business. And then it was totally different timing. And then they were so nice that they were actually open their home to me. And then I was staying with them instead of, like staying in a hotel. And then they had the servers that they were serving to me. But they were the bad ones that they want to change how to make the business. So they want to get rid of me, and then they did. Yes, they killed me with the poisons. Arrow. Okay. But like the area that I look at, it was on my hip, like just the corner of my hip and then leg. Do
you have any hip problems now in that area?
I have no birthmark there. I have no like a pain or anything. If I didn't see this one, I will never say that I had something like that. The only thing I say, I love and love Roman Empire time. It's just, I love it.
It was really exciting.
Because I had really good memories there.
Yeah. Oh, it sounds like you were a good-looking bachelor who pretty much lived it up. So of course you would have good memories.
According to all my past lives, I have only one time I had the family and kids. All the others I was single or married but no kids. Okay. And the next ones I was in Ireland and England. I was a healer, and then the channeler. I was killed for a few times in Russia, Romania.
Okay.
I was killed.
Were you also a healer in Egypt? Because it seems like a consistent message.
Egypt, what I was told.
Egypt.
There were some temples that there were some trainings. I got them from there. Probably again a healer. Yeah, I was not slave. I was not like royalty or anything, or not slave, but more in spiritual world.
Right. And a healer in ancient times, for many people, because they think healers now, they think energy healing, like Reiki and all of
Yeah.
that, and there is that kind of metaphysics, but a healer is just in ancient times all-encompassing term for anybody who takes care of people. So like a nurse, a doctor,
Anything, yes.
an herbalist, anything is all. You're a healer. You're the medicine woman, and anything and all is under the guise of
Yes.
healer. So you could be taking care of people who are sick. You're a healer. You can be giving them herbal concoctions for with different natural herbs to make tea. You're a healer. You can be working in teaching some of the different ways to care for people and to heal illness and
Yeah.
sickness. You're a healer. And then there's also in Egypt, a lot of the healers also incorporated energy healing and frequency healing as well.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but you have that healing and then also using new technology and applying it into everyday life. You have that all the way back to your Arcturus star system because it seems
Yes,
to be a
it's a
consistent
very,
theme.
yeah, it's a very interesting, actually. One thing that she said, for example, we were trying to protect the Stargate, right? This is like a big, big responsibility and it's very scary. And she said, even from those time, like, I don't know, thousands or maybe millions years passed, and we still pick those being very responsible in this lifetime. Like at work, for example, we are just so worried about everything, and then you're trying to make everything perfect, and then all this stress and everything. She said that's all comes from those days. So it's actually even affects our lives today.
Okay. So now are you a only child in this life, or are you like the oldest? Where are you in the pecking
In
order?
this lifetime, I have one sister. She's 2 years older. She's 2 years younger than me.
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. And so you kind of have the same characteristics, lifetime after lifetime, same kind of career path for the most part.
It's interesting, yeah.
It's interesting. Even from different incarnating into different star systems and planets as different species.
Still the
Same. Yeah, still the same. So now you've incarnated again at this time. So you've had you're not completely brand new to the human Earth experience. And so you've had some Earth lifetimes and working with Earth people under your belt. Okay, so emotions aren't so foreign, violence, all the different emotions, and just having discernment over people doing different things.
God.
That's a big trick as well. So you have some of that. So you're not completely brand new. But do you know why you decided to reincarnate again into the 21st century? Why the 21st? You've done this a couple of times. What's the point of this?
Yeah, according to what I've seen in my dreams, before 6 years old, the place that this is what I saw. And everybody had a group, and the group is around like 15 people. And depends on, how many people, from your group, came to the earth or not around. And then everybody's studying or something. And it was so intense studying and so boring. Like we were getting the information from down to earth, like let's say World War II happened, right? Mm-hmm. And also how it will affect the people that go to earth in that time. Mm-hmm. Everything is studied, everything is planned. And every group has a manager, and then kind of like a closer to that manager. There's a
really. Yeah, so you had all this pre-planning and coursework to do before you incarnate as a human being.
But yes, then everything. Yeah, it's like, and then but
it's interesting.
And then you have to be. They were so serious, it's like everything, and I was so bored. I said, I'm leaving my, the group. I'm just gonna find something else. I don't want this, but at some point, and then there is a place that we can see the earth, which when I was very small, we had only black and white TV. So I didn't know, there was no internet and anything like that. And I was seeing the earth is a colorful and it was beautiful. And then there is a place actually, we were calling it God, but this is different God that what the the religious talking about. So we were there was, I believe that there were angels. So we were telling them, I want to talk to God. So they were escorting us, and then when you come to a point, there were like separation, the road separation. So I said, I came here so many times, I know how to go. Why, I can go by myself. And then he says, no, you need escort because you are going, like different directions. And then what I saw was, I'm thinking right now, but I have to, like really dig this information, get it as a fact. Maybe the sun's, the sun and moon, the sun's soul, because it was round shape, white, and then so bright, like we cannot look at with our human eyes. It was extremely bright, and then it had like kind of consciousness, and then you can talk, but of course we didn't have bodies. We also have like a white light, so it's kind of like a telepathic talking. And I remember I was asking questions, and then he was giving the answers like very short, and then it's like but very like a certain very just as a fact. So there's different places, and then I was just bored basically, and I wanted to and then I was mesmerized with the colors of the earth, because up there was really no color. There was some angels that they have the frame around very, like, let's say very, very pale, like yellow, very pale green. These are the colors, but it's so like so little and so pale. And then you look at the material earth, everything is so bright, so beautiful. That's what I remember, that because of those colors I wanted to come. But in the same time, maybe there is a more in it, probably there's more, and then I don't maybe remember those parts, they just erase from the memory, it's like, this is your life purpose, this is the reason why you're coming. Because when I talked to Akashic Records readers, and then when I learned that my life purposes, I didn't see in that time, but it was. I just very, very, like in the last few years, I learned what it is. And so one of them was bringing the information that the humanity doesn't know. So expanding, like for the consciousness, we have to look at the, like the big picture. For example, when I was told to come to the universe, I was seeing the universe, and in a vision I saw, for example, universe, right? It's like this size. Like my body, like this size, and I'm seeing this size. So this is like how much I was far from the universe. And then when you see the big, the huge as a small, and then your perspective is changing, because here we look at the sky is so big and everything is big, but then you get much further and further, and then how small. And then one thing also, for example, we are so stuck to our problems, right? Everything is a big drama. Everything is so big, and this is problem, this is blah, blah. And then suddenly everything is so small. It's not that big deal. There's much bigger deals. There's much, much more important things in life. And then what is all the life is about? Why we are here? What is the whole system? And then that's the information, that's the, like looking at the big picture, how the things works.
Okay, so the question that I have for you about that is, okay, so you incarnate here, and you're here to basically bring information to humanity to help raise consciousness, help raise the frequency.
This is one of them. Yeah, this is the one of them. So I was told that, this is one, and then the other one is the, being healer again.
Being healer. Okay. Well,
activated yet. Not. I think it's about the DNA activation. They are talking
Okay.
about. Yeah, I'm not there yet. That's what they say.
Okay.
And my job will be also activating DNAs
Okay. So
in a more
activating DNA
energetic level. Yeah.
and energy level. So so you're going to be doing, so your life purpose is to be doing some healing and
Dual purpose. Yeah.
dual purpose and energy healing, and it's going to be about repairing
Yes,
DNA
repairing
and then
DNAs and activating and then helping the most places as starseeds, helping them to align with their life purposes. And so that part, they say that you still have time. I think a few more years. And now I started with this informations and channeling. It's just it's just that they are helping people that we are not just alone. I'm not the only person doing this. We are getting so much help from our star families and angels.
Right. The question I have about the angels and the star family and all of that. So, like in Vedic Hindu, they talk about source, consciousness, God, Allah, whatever you want to call that greater being that everybody's connected to. They kind of motto it like it's the central sun, like it's the main sun, and then from that main sun are just like spiral arms of all these other smaller galaxies and that spiral out in these arms, and even smaller galaxies that spiral out. It's almost like a continuum Mandelbrot set that comes out of this big central sun, this consciousness of source, God, whatever we want to call it. And there's little itty bitty Earth and Milky Way in the far out reaches. So we have in every single one of these solar systems, supposedly according to Vedic Hinduism, has its own sun, but it also, because it's connected to the central sun, the bigger sun, it has a bigger, softer sun. Yeah. So if you can just imagine a spiral galaxy multiplied by more spiral galaxies, multiplied by more as you kind of go into more and more of the Mandelbrot set, that's kind of the concept of universes. And then also there is, they even say this in the Bible as well, that there are a hierarchy in all the way up to source of angels, archangels, everything else. There's a whole hierarchy, and everybody is kind of working their dimension or their neighborhood. So even in Buddhism, we have so much pictures and artwork of the hierarchy of what we call Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, all the way up to the main Buddha, which is like the central sun, God, source, whatever you call it. So this is a constant theme that has come up in many of the world faith systems in their most ancient artwork, is this constant concept of kind of what you're talking about and what I've explained. So my question now is, your star family from these previous incarnations is helping also with you doing your healing work, working with other people, starseeds. You also work in IT as a computer programmer as well. So same career path for the most part. Now, when they were helping you, are they helping you like because earlier you said that you were having dreams of alien visitations taking you to pick you up through astral travel to go learn things. And they showed you the split of the earth. What does that mean? What does that vision look like?
Yeah, it's just like the earth, the colorful earth that we know. This is one here and then one here. It was on the air. It was not, because it's not a physical area, but there was some physical, but this was kind of like on the air screen, kind of looking at, and then they were talking, but again, I was like a teenager. This was like years ago, and I couldn't even understand what they were trying to say. If I see that dream today, it will be different. And unfortunately, I didn't have any mentor, anybody to tell me like, oh, you saw a dream, tell me, and then write every single detail. And like take, like make the drawings, what you saw, like everything. So I didn't take any documentation. So I cannot really, say so much, but I remember that they were talking about the earth, and I'm hoping that I can, see them again. So now I don't see them, but I believe that they help me a lot, because the way that I channel, either I see the visions, like the visions is opening, and I see that probably they are helping me for that, or sometimes I get the downloads, I just know it. So I'm thinking that information is coming also from them. And sometimes I ask questions, then I get the answers. So I'm believing, again, they are helping. But it's not like, like I see them, in person, kind of like personal. I just, ask my questions and I get the answer.
Right, right. So this reminds me a lot about some very advanced concepts in Buddhism and Hinduism. And in Buddhism and Hinduism, the advanced concepts beyond the basics, be a good person, don't murder, don't kill, all that kind of stuff, because that creates a lot of negativity and karma to come back and learn that basic life lesson all over again. But if you have the basics, you don't have to continue to put yourself into situations of suffering so that you learn the life lesson over again. You can manifest and create different experiences that are much more pleasant, and learn different lessons that are more pleasant, lessons about love, lessons about growth, lessons about whatever. There's a lot of different emotions to explore. But the thing with the splitting of the earth that I found interesting is that when you see an image of the earth splitting, there's one image of the earth that
exactly was two, like they were like together, they're like totally two, like seeing it.
Was one higher, one lower, was one brighter, one?
They were just like next to each other, like this much, and they were, like just the two, and then suspended on the air. And then they were two of these aliens, and they were talking about that, and then telling me the things, but I really don't remember anything what they were saying.
Right. So here's the thing with frequency dimensions and healing, okay, and spiritual evolution. So in Buddhism and Hinduism, just a basic refresher for many people and for new people to these concepts. These are the advanced subjects that they don't go over often for many practitioners, because you have to work on the basics. So if you still can't figure out to be kind and to not cause suffering, then you still need to work on the basics. But for the most part, we are energy, and as these are just our avatars, okay, these are just the costumes that we're wearing for this experience. Our energy, our soul essence, our aura field, that's who we really are. That's our soul, that's our spirit. And the soul and the spirit is beaming based off its frequency. So some will have higher frequency, some will have lower frequency. Lower frequency is a reflection of someone's soul that has a younger consciousness, or a lower consciousness. And so they are a little earlier in their spiritual evolution, and so as a result, they will oftentimes be able to incarnate into lower dimensions, like the third dimension and so forth. If they raise their frequency up even higher, they'll radiate at a much higher frequency. It's just kind of like if you take a fan and you or a propeller at an airplane, okay, and you put it on a low speed, you can see the propellers moving around.
Exactly.
But you go supersonic speed, and it goes so fast into high frequency, you don't even see the propellers anymore. You don't even, it's just completely it's completely invisible. But of course you see the wing, because that hasn't moved, but the spinning has gone so fast that it's almost invisible. You don't even see it anymore.
Exactly. That's the case.
Yeah. So in Buddhism and Hinduism, that's a difference between frequencies. Frequencies decide which dimension you go into, and the higher your consciousness, the higher your frequency, you, no matter what you do, you are not going to stay in those lower dimensions of like the third dimension. You're going to propel up into a higher dimension that fits your energetic frequency, like the fourth or the fifth or higher dimension. The fifth dimension technically is the last physical one before you get into the spirit world and all the dimensions up there. So just kind of like what you've been saying with all the angels and the archangels and your spirit family in these different places of existence. It's the same discussion in Buddhism and Vedic Hinduism. It's the same exact discussion. Now, the thing is that the big discussion is the 21st century. The Earth is going through a transition into a higher dimension. And so if any of the souls want to move on with Earth to a higher dimension, they need to work on their frequency, their energy. And in order to, and in order to raise your frequency, first you have to kind of clean up your consciousness of all the stuff that's bringing down your consciousness, like your mommy daddy issues, your issues with XXX, all the things that trigger you, those are holding down your energy field. So all that healing and self-healing work that you're doing with other people and that people do with themselves is actually raising their consciousness. And by raising your consciousness, is raising your frequency into these higher dimensions. This is advanced Buddhism and advanced Hinduism that many lay people aren't not necessarily going to completely grasp, but once they grasp that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why we're working on being integrous. That's why we're working on being a clear person with good intentions. That's why we're working on XXX, all these different characteristics, because these higher characteristics are of these higher dimensions. These negative lower characteristics keep you way down. So if you constantly want to be in the third dimension, in the lower reality of Earth, then continue to live in negativity, continue to feed yourself constant fear mongering, constant paranoia, constant schizophrenia, whatever is going to keep you down into the low frequencies, because it's going to keep your consciousness down. So that's why this healing work is so important at this time, is because if the Earth is moving to a high frequency, you need to do some consciousness cleanup. So go find a healer, heal yourself, work on yourself, because that's how you're going to go there. And so now we go back to your vision of when you were a child with the alien abductions memory, where they were trying to continue to kind of show you the splitting of the Earth. Like, remember this is important. Remember this. You came here for this.
Exactly. I was like, oh my God.
And it was like, what am
time to time, and then checking my information, and then I was seeing some other dreams too. They were like really higher dimensions, and then when we go up more and more, it's not like let's say the world is more beautiful, everything is more beautiful. There's actually going more nothingness, like the physical what we see beautiful here, as like the big beautiful mansions and the sport cars and the beautiful landscape, they're all gone. They were just the most important things start to be frequencies.
Yeah.
And then have different, and then you hear that frequencies, and then the feeling of the frequency, like feeling the emotions, kind of like feeling the frequency, they all have the different signatures. And then you start to, see the differences. And then there is sometimes, maybe there is something you see in the nothingness, but it's not actually what you see is the important. This is like a reflection of what is more down, just a little bit. But that's, like the basic thing is the different frequencies.
Right.
And then, like, for example, you explained so perfectly. I didn't honestly know so much about the Buddhism, and it's like, oh my God.
It's nothing new. It's nothing new. It's the same thing over and over again.
I mean, but the interesting thing is Buddhism didn't start today. It has, like hundreds and thousands of years of past. And then for all those years, they have all this wisdom. They already know it. And then the modern life right now is trying to catch up with that. That's what it is. It is amazing. Like, for example, universe, right? Universe is in an environment. That environment is made of consciousness. But the consciousness is not everywhere equally the same. And there is a one place that there is a concentrated consciousness that was the source that they create this universe, and then they will create the other places, like the universe. And then, for example, the universe right now, even scientists are saying it's moving, right? It's expanding.
Right.
It's expanding, that's correct. But what they see, it's just like a little section of it. Because, you know, our technology is not allowed us to go outside of, you know, like the galaxy, out of the universe, you know, looking at the big pictures of what's going on or why it's happening. So one of the reasons, just like you said, and not just the Earth, actually, the whole universe is expanding and then moving to the higher frequency. So for to do that, they have to move the universe, because the universe is, you know, has the duality, you know, the good and bad, and the whole universe is starts with the love, with the positive, like huge positive. And to experience the duality, you need something else from outside, and then to bring it to create the duality. So now this experiment came to a point that the bad side, the dark side, the negativity is getting take over positivity so much, the balance is very off. You know, duality is like really off. And then if nothing happens, nobody does anything, it will be just totally dark and gone. Like there will be no good anything. Not just
right.
So that's the whole action right now is happening. To get back to balance.
Back to balance. So what you just described from what you were taught growing up from your extraterrestrial astro travels is basically in Buddhism the concept of nirvana and samsara. So nirvana is spiritual emptiness in and with source, like the great central sun, that nice beaming soft consciousness of God that basically exists in an infinite energy field. Okay. But out of that energy, that's what they call nirvana. And everybody's, you know, getting to the point where they go and reach nirvana. And out of the energy field bursts out creation. Okay. And within creation is everything from all what exists in the spirit world on all those different levels and the different existences that happen there, to all the universes. And all of creation happened because of duality. There needs to be an up, there needs to be a down, there needs to be a right, and there needs to be a left. So it is that contrast that creates experiences. And that's that's what in Buddhism we call samsara. It's a very big, in what you would call game board, that souls within the consciousness of source can choose to come and play in. I have created, the source is like, I have created all these different game boards and experiences for you to experience. And I want you guys to go play and learn and grow and expand. And at the same time, you are still always going to be connected to source. But you're just a fractal expression. So this is advanced Buddhism, and you just completely describe this concept from your extraterrestrial, I don't know, internships, I guess you would say, growing up. So that's very fascinating.
Yeah, this is amazing. I'm just learning to talking to you now. It's like how much Buddhism knows about the reality.
Oh, this is nothing new. This is you're not gonna blow our mind. You're actually reaffirming a lot of the stuff.
For the I cannot say, you know, like talk about other people, but for the Western world, you know, like I know the Buddhism just very generally, but I didn't know how deep it was, and then how much wisdom, as much information there is. It's amazing.
Well, you know, because you've read some of my books, my Buddhist Mandalas book, and I'm working on book 3. So everybody get off my back on that, because everybody wants. The Buddhist guide of the Four Noble Truths is really good at that healing and raising the frequency, cleaning up the consciousness. And then the Buddhist Mandala series that you see here and here in the bookshelf. There's a 3-book series. There's a third
I'm
one.
right now reading.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, I'm
You're
like,
so funny.
yeah,
You know what?
amazing.
Nur, it's okay. I think a majority of the people I interview have read my books too, because I
Yes,
plan these
amazing, yeah.
interviews like a month or 2 months based on my schedule. Because I work full time, and also I'm a working mom, and I have my personal life, which is valuable to me. So that's a balance. And so I plan these so far out that a lot of the guests will get the books and kind of get a preview to understand a little bit about the advanced Buddhism that I talk about in this podcast. It's a lot of them is listened to in Asia and South America. In the West and others, there's some as well. But so anyways, but the advanced Buddhism, a lot of the monks and a lot of others, they know about it, they experience it, but most of the practitioners, most of the followers of Buddhism are working on the basic principles. So they never get to this other stuff. It's like, well, how are you going to get to frequency and consciousness and traveling through the multiverse and to different dimensions and communicating with different, beings of consciousness if you're just basically working on how not to deceive people constantly? It's basic.
It is difficult,
Yes.
but I think it's again, it's not up to us, because there is so much blockage, like seriously, so much blockage, energy level, and it's hard for someone that, let's say, in human, right? Even if they have, let's say, hundreds lifetime here, if they never, pass that blockage, it's hard from, like coming down to the up, because we are coming up to the down. So we know already how it is,
Yeah, that's true. It's true.
Up, it's difficult. You need someone to hold your hand and then help you to show you how it is.
To reference points.
Yeah, and then, and also this, the DNA. Like we have the different DNA, and then they say even our body has a different DNA than the humans. Because
what's the difference between a ancient soul's DNA and a younger soul's DNA?
It's interesting. They say that because our energy is so high, we cannot just pick any body form and come here, because they cannot hold this body. And then they say that like starseeds, either you have very healthy, like really don't get sick so much, or you are very, very sick because you couldn't adjust the body, like someone that never came here before. This is like the first time, there's something, they say, but it's however, like where we came from, and however our body is over there, it's pretty much kind of like a similar, the human body here, and then some genetic differences, they say. So they like, we're just not picking up anybody, just like specific locations, like I don't know so much this part about, but like Paladins are going, like this side of the earth so much, and then, the Arcturians is here. There's, like there's so many other Andromedans and this and that. So apparently our JDNAs, this junk DNA, like 99% is important. What is the coded there, because that's the activation is happening. I was listening, like some of the, the starseeds that they activated, directly got from help from their star families. And then that's what they were saying, this DNA activation. They help, and then they suddenly it's open, this blockage and everything.
Because right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this about frequency and because consciousness is frequency, and we know that frequency changes matter. Yes. They've already proven in science. So since people are energy and they are consciousness, and we work on our frequency, we're changing matter. So when you change your frequency, and let's say you heal a dense issue, like when you're working with people and you heal a dense issue, and that energy, that blockage is no longer in the aura field, and now they're raised up a little, they're more clear energy,
more connection,
get more connection, and then they raise up a little bit more, and then they learn a little bit more, and they tune and they raise up a little bit more. So anyways, as they raise up more of their they clean up the consciousness, they learn the lessons, they don't continue to put back the old blockages or the old triggers, and they raise their consciousness. The thing that always comes up is when they raise their consciousness, they actually affect, there's two things that happens. And I've gotten this from many other Starseed clients of mine as well. One thing that happens is many of these people are so high frequency that they are not aware of this, but they actually affect the people around them. So So, and I didn't know this for a very long time as well. I didn't pay attention to any of this, but until I got much older, and then somebody pointed it out to me. You're really good luck, and I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about, because there's nothing different. And you know, a lot of star seeds have these very common, you know, kind of feeling a little homesickness. They really like Star Trek, they like the sci-fi, they really love the metaphysical because that's just common for them. And the advanced Buddhism and Hinduism is all very like a sci-fi movie anyways. But anyways, growing up, many of them are always told that you're a little bit different, but they just can't quite put their finger on why you're a different type of girl or a different type of boy. Like, what? So you look like us, like humans, but you're a little bit different. I can't figure it out. So they always got something about, like, you know, they always have some, and they think a little bit out of the box. So oftentimes these star seeds, when they get older and they figure out, they overcome the human melodramas much more easier. Many of them, what I find, are they kind of get a little bit annoyed by human melodramas. Like, why is it so hard for you guys to talk it out? Why are you going to spend the next 50 years being all disgruntled when you can just talk it out and just own what you did and start making amends, letting it go? Don't repeat the same thing. I think in Western theology, they call that repentance. They also call that acceptance in Buddhism. Accept, forgive, let go, learn from it, and move on, create new experiences. There's so many different ways in which we can address this. But these are the human melodramas that keep many human souls back and forth in the wheel of Dharma over and over again, trying to learn the same lesson over and over again with the same souls, to learn basically how to learn the basic life lessons of, you know, forgive, let go, get rid of the anger. No, you know, everybody's in different places in their consciousness, you know, all that kind of stuff. The basic stuff, learn from it, let go of that contract, so that you don't keep on coming back over and over again into these different different incarnations to try to learn the basic lesson. And it's like, okay, well, you tried your very best. It's time to move on and let go. But my point in talking about the wheel of Dharma in Buddhism is that so many human souls reincarnated get stuck in this wheel of Dharma, that at this time, because 2012 was 2555 in the Buddhist era, which is a changeover for the planet. Many indigenous civilizations, not just Buddhism and Hinduism, but Native American, Easter Island, many other ones, Mayans as well, they knew that it was time for Earth to ascend to her next dimension, to a higher dimension. That splitting that you were talking about, that the ETs showed you, tried to get you to be like, this is important. And you were like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm just trying to look good at school the next day. So anyways,
I'm 13 years old, like a little kid. Like, what
are you talking about? Splitting of reality and of the planets and the Earth going to different dimension and people raising consciousness and, you know, all this kind of stuff. This is like a whole nother blockbuster that hasn't been made yet. So anyways, my point in bringing all that up is this. In Buddhism, we have the concept of the wheel of Dharma. And so many humans are stuck on that wheel of Dharma because they haven't learned the life lesson with those same soul contracts. And so when Earth is moving to a higher dimension and these people are still stuck with these lower energies and these melodramas that are holding down their frequency, they're not going to go to those higher dimensions. And so they're going to stay in that other split Earth.
Yes.
Okay, unless they start working on these, what in Buddhism would call your karmic lessons, the things that you're supposed to learn and you had all this time to do. So in order to help humanity move their consciousness upward, what do you get coming in and reincarnating into Earth that is not stuck on the wheel of Dharma? You get these ancient souls that came in with all this healing and metaphysics and a little bit of a spiritual warrior, a little
Yeah,
bit because
it is.
they've come from these different galaxies in previous incarnations that had these galactic wars. So anyways, it's a little bit kind of a amnesty program almost. So a refugee program. So a lot of them have that imprint as well. But anyways, but that's how you help humanity get up and raise consciousness, is you bring all of these souls that aren't stuck on the wheel of Dharma to come in and raise consciousness. And so many of them are healers, many of them are metaphysics, many of them are doing a lot of the same work in so many different areas. But the the thing that is common is they inherently are really connected to the oneness of, they know that they're directly connected to source and to each other. Even though they have amnesia, there's some little inkling, so certain things just won't feel right and they just can't make themselves do it. But they are also so empathetic. So many of these star seeds have a tendency, because they don't know that they're star seeds, to take on the suffering of somebody else they see or saw.
My God, yes.
Okay, so you're laughing. I'm gonna tell you a funny story, girl. So my daughter, because oftentimes these ancient souls will come in. They don't want to be stuck in the wheel of karma, and so then many of them will not have children, or they'll have very few children, but or having children would be hard. And they talk about this in Dolores Cannon's work as well as others.
Yeah.
But it's just happening more in abundance now. That's the difference as compared to previous Earth history, because of the splitting of the Earth into a higher dimension. So the thing is, so my daughter, for example, is another one of these ancient souls, and oftentimes when ancient souls come in and they don't want to be stuck in the wheel of Dharma over again, and they already have learned these lessons, and if they do have kids, what kind of kids do they attract? Other ancient souls. So for the first iteration of ancient star seeds that incarnate in, you go to normal human parents and they're like, I don't know how, I don't know what to help you. Just go to church or whatever. But I know you're laughing because it's just hitting all the boxes. But this is literally what many of them get. I'm repeating also the case studies in Buddhism, so it starts to repeat because it's nothing new underneath the sun. We're just doing it in abundance at this time. So so now you have these ancient souls, and then some of them decide to have kids. What do they get? They're not going to get somebody who's stuck in the wheel of karma. They're going to get another ancient soul. Probably somebody from the same star system that they were previously, or that they had previous experience with, previous contracts with, their star family that just incarnate in. And so that generation will have an easier time because they have a starseed parent or a starseed grandparent that can help them with all these different nuances.
Yeah.
But my point is my daughter, for example, so she will see one of my husband's friends back, because he just got back surgery, and he had this wicked scar, this very unique scar from his back surgery. And she wanted to see what it looks like because she's never seen a back surgery. And so he kind of cautioned her, but she's 7, so she saw his back, and she was so affected by it. She's like, "Oh, that sounds like it hurts." Well, the next day she's out playing and she fell into a bush, and just falling into a bush, and she scratched her back. And she showed me the back, and it was the same exact scar. But it didn't scar her back, but she had gotten scratched up on the bush to be the same exact pattern as the scar on my husband's friend's back from surgery. And this happens often with starseeds. Sometimes they empathize so much and they're so sensitive that they don't necessarily create boundaries to be like, okay, I'm going to be there as a friend. I'm going to listen. I'm going to give you some advice, but then you take your problems with you and I'm going to go on with myself. Like they don't, they literally take on somebody else's suffering and then they make themselves sick. So a lot of these starseeds, like especially if they're incarnating in abundance as kids, will come into families that are totally healthy, but then you'll have these really sickly kids because they're these ancient souls that don't know how to set boundaries, to not empathize so much, to take on the suffering. So they take on the family cancers. They take on they emulate some of the negativity and the illnesses that they see in their families. So can you speak to that? I mean, because you have children yourself, and you've also had a lot of these cases happen to you.
Yes, yeah. My one of them is from Andromeda. The other one is from Sirius. So they are starseeds too. But yeah, it's sad to hear your daughter's story, and then unfortunately, that's real. Like it happens to me too. I look at somebody, let's say, has a maybe wound or something, or maybe just a mole. I look at, and then very shortly, in 2-3 days, I have the same thing. I'm like, oh
okay.
I'm like, don't look at, just close your eyes. I know it's that's something that I really have to work on it. The only thing now I know that it's happening, I'm just trying to close my eyes or just to move my head like very fast to make sure that maybe I don't get that energy.
Yeah. Okay. So
I do.
What advice do you have for these ancient souls to, because they can't help but empathize be sensitive because they see the oneness in everybody, but then also they can't go around taking everybody's hurt. So
this is on, because our energy is so high, and then this is so low energy. It's just easy to affect from us, like it's kind of like you look at this point and you pull it. It's like that's how strong our energy is. Because for the humans, it's kind of like this one and this one the same level. So like let's say this is like a somebody, and then this is somebody with like let's say there's a one here. When they are the same level, they are really not pulling anything. But this one, when very strong, then just like looking at, and then it's just pulls it. So it's putting like a kind of barrier between. I honestly have to work on by myself to how to not to get it. Especially, I'm guessing that I will learn how to do it when I'm healer. Because that will they will come up the most, but I didn't get the information yet personally how to stop that part. The only thing that for that sensitivity, if they have not the physical problems but like emotional problems or problems mental or whatever they have, they are talking to me, asking help and advice or just to feel better, I still give like 110% from myself to make them, feel better, and then giving some directions, especially if I have the similar experience. So they feel, more connected, and then more, what I say, what I did in the past that worked, help them more. But in the same time, in the past when I was doing, I was just so drained because, like the dramas and everything was really sometimes so heavy. And now I look at everything is like, oh, this is the old reality. Everything is kind of like just a game, just experience, Don't take it so seriously. And then just thinking that way is, like actually helping you, not the drain. But the only thing is I'm trying to be strict if I notice that person is narcissist. Because that people is actually not really looking for a help, and then whatever I do or say will not help. There's no benefit.
They're narcissistic.
Narcissistic also like just they try to suck your emotions. It's kind of like food for them.
Yeah. For some people that they
this is like
they drain you.
benefit. Yeah, there is no benefit for them. So that part, I try to put more boundaries.
Yeah.
If I notice it that they are narcissists.
Yeah, you make a really good point, because here's the conundrum with when it comes to these ancient souls that come with these high energy, and they're already lowering the energy just to have the physical incarnation here on Earth. So the thing is that because they're so high energy, they go where they typically go, they go and positively influence other people. And that's wonderful. But because they are so empathetic and sensitive to energy and other people, and most people are walking around with negative meat suits, just thinking and worrying about all paranoia and fear, and all day long. This is what they're projecting. This is what they feed themselves with their whatever they're watching, et cetera, et cetera. So you put these high energy ancient souls who beam out this positively, and just energetically everybody kind of is effective, and kind of there's a new resonance that they're balancing out with these higher souls that are kind of everywhere. But at the same time, for the higher soul, ancient soul, what they're getting is everybody else's negativity. So it's almost like a energy freak out, where you get kind of going, I feel that one there, I feel that one there, I feel that one there. And so the balance is to try to find some way to, as a starseed or a Tulku. In Buddhism, this is what we will say for this situation, because not everybody gets Yeshua's a whole monastery devoted to teaching him about different things to learn how to exist in this world with these people and all that kind of stuff. So you're gonna get a little bit of the training through Merkaba Chakra's podcast, and also all the guests will have wonderful resources, like you have a wonderful resources and your book, and that's in the show description as well. But the trick, and I also work on this as well, because sometimes you fall off and sometimes you forget. So anyways, the trick is that it's almost like this. It's just send out love, and you send out so much positive love. Just imagine yourself just walking around, just sending out love. And if you see somebody who's really, really suffering, just send them a lot of love, and their negativity can't break through that love barrier. It's just too much. It's almost like a sonic wave, like of heat. Like you're just going to melt. You're just going to melt the ice cube. The ice cube is not going to freeze the heat. Yeah, that's the only strategy I can come up with. The ice cube is never going to melt the laser beam of heat. Okay, it's never going to. But the laser beam of heat, which is basically the love, just focus on just sending out the love. It's unlimited. You're never going to deplete yourself, because it comes from the great central sun. It comes from God's source within you. So you already know this. You'll constantly tap to that consciousness, that energy. And so you just open yourself as a channel to just send out this energy and just melt all the negativity and suffering around you. Just melt it. And if you think to yourself,
that's a good strategy, but there's just one little trick.
Yeah, one little trick.
One little trick. But there's also the other problem is sometimes I came across, sometimes the energy is so high, I guess. I can break the things. Like I can break the plastic and glass. Like even just looking at, I was like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
Well, that might be your extra skill. I have this unique
so it's kind of like you gotta control somehow the energy too.
Yeah.
It's like a low, but sometimes it's just it can be so strong too.
Yeah. I would, for me, because there's a couple different Buddhist monks would teach different techniques. Some teach the advanced technique of doing the trade, like you trade, and I don't necessarily agree to that technique of energy transfer, where you're doing a trade. Like I'll take a little bit of your suffering from you to kind of give you a little bit of my positivity, and I'm not really into that. I'm into more of the other technique, which is just shoot lots of love and just you're going to get what you're supposed to get, whatever level you're supposed to get, because it's not coming from me, it's coming from source, and source already knows what you need at this time. So I'm just an open channel where just so you just
Yeah.
come through and just
Yeah, that's actually, I started very recently. When this is like what I saw. So when I just died, and then my body was not the body, sorry, my soul is going up, and then like a huge tunnel, like this size, and then very white, very very white, very strong light, just like looking at the sun. So that's what I imagine. Like, let's say somebody, like you said, right? Somebody's suffering, and I'm talking, and I'm putting that light, and then like sparkling, lots of sparkles and stuff. And
that's not a good way.
And I actually recently had some paperwork, and it was so much stress and stuff like that. And I put that lights, the sparkling and everything, and I put just a lot to that, the paperwork. And then I made the phone call. I was like, and then what we can do, and this, oh, no problem, just to send me the other paperwork, and it's done. Thank you. That's first.
Yeah. It was funny, Nur, like when I called you to set up the interview, you were saying, oh, all of a sudden all of these different things that I lost started popping up.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God. That was
what happened.
Yeah, incredible. Yeah, because I was listening to your previous episodes, and then you were talking about the parallel realities and all this synchronicity. And then, because your energy is high, it doesn't matter, where you are, very far, and then, like we don't have to be in the same room. That's still, that energy's effects. So I picked that energy, and then your energy, and then started to show up in my life. Like,
interesting. What happened? What showed up?
I had the one gold jewelry like 7 years ago. I used it. It was nighttime, late. I put it to my closet. I didn't put the exact place. It was just late. And then the next day, I was just putting, and I couldn't find it. I was like going crazy, taking everything, and I couldn't find it. And then after that, I moved 2 times. So that's definitely gone. Like, forget about it. I was
you moved away twice, so it's gone.
I moved to 2 different houses, and I couldn't that twice. So that was total history, and forget about it. And then after I talked to you, no, sorry, not to talk to you. Talked to you about before, and also, watching all this your videos and stuff. And then I would just go suddenly somewhere upstairs, and I opened something like. It's never like, there is no way that even if I was like drunk, I would never put it there. I'm like, it's impossible. What happened? Like, how it can be possible? I was holding in my hands, and I found it. It's just like, like showed up, out of blue. Just like, you were talking about this parallel realities, how the, things are shifting and changing. And there was another one. Oh, yes. And I got a gift for my son. I gave it, but it was so small, easy to, misplace. Somehow it's lost. And I said, it's okay, that's, like not big deal. But I was just sad because I got it for him. And then the same day, I found that one too. In another, like, total unrelated place. Like, wow.
It was really funny because I had, you gave me your cell phone, so I had called you to vet you. And vet your book and vet the website and all that kind of stuff. And like we were having conversation, and like it was a little bit hard to have a conversation because you kept on finding all these things. You're like, oh my God, I found this. I'm like,
I was like,
finding everything.
I was like, I gotta call her. Like, I gotta say this. She's gonna it's impossible.
It was funny, but and that happens. As you raise your frequency, you will affect other people. Let's end up with synchronicities. So angel communication, there's a lot of different ways to communicate with our angels, our star family, or source consciousness, etc. One of the most common ones is synchronicity. And angel numbers, which is repeat. Angel numbers is just repeat of numbers because it's just letting you know that life is a mirror, whatever you're working on. So let me share my screen. I'm going to share my screen really quick, and I'll give you an example of my angel numbers. Okay, so this is my Facebook page. Okay,
Oh,
one.
wow.
All right, so I went to my husband's 80s cover band, and I've been married twice, and my ex-husband's we both came from humble beginnings, very, very poor, and he's extremely successful. But most of my friends, like, they all come from very humble, boring, poor beginnings, and they all are extremely successful with their companies, etc., whatever. So, but oftentimes the star seed is often just a connector. They're never really in the, like, for the most part, limelight. They want simple lives. They're just a connector. So so if you look in the peripherals of the circles of a lot of the most successful people, they'll probably have some star seeds in their family or some kind of connector. But anyways, many star seeds use angel communication to communicate with us side for guidance, advice, whatever. So here's me and a friend, and we went to a beautiful Ilani Casino here in Washington, and my husband's band Nightwave was showcasing there. So anyways, I had gotten food, and the total was
Aw.
$16.16 for my food. So I'm like, oh, angel numbers, okay. And so then I just after I ate, I went and bought some earrings, and the lady I bought the earrings from. Let me open up this picture. See here. This one? Yes. Okay. There's the earrings I bought. 1777. So the total, randomly, the earrings I bought next was $17.77. Okay, so I was like, oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Okay, and so I gave that ticket, and I bought these earrings, and then I had a $3.80 ticket from just playing the slots. I put $10, and I ended up getting down to $3.80. So after I bought the earrings for $17.77, I decided this lady was kind of sad. So I was like, here's my $3.80. Go to the penny machine or something. So she took it, and she's like, oh, okay, thanks, sure. She wasn't having any luck. She put it into a slot machine, and she jackpot. So I was like, I never jackpot because Source is never going to let me jackpot. I'm a connector. I'm a catalyst. So she jackpot. It made her night. She just, she won a couple $1,000. She had a ball. She gave me a hug. I said, that's how it's supposed to be. So the next day on the way home, we got hungry. So, the next exit is let's go and get some food. So I said, sure, let's go and get some food. The next exit. So we go to the next exit, and the exit was exit 111. 111 is exit. Okay. So I picked the highest rated diner out of that exit 111, which is like 2 blocks away from that exit. Okay. Ironically, the closest restaurant, which is 2 blocks away from the 1111 exit, had let me see this one here. Here it is. It had 1,111 star ratings. How funny is that? So it had 1,111 ratings for this restaurant off exit 111. So this is like synchronicities over and over again. And this happens so often all the time. So when I see these synchronicities, I'm like, oh, I guess I'm on the right track. All right, I'll just go there. So I just kind of let the universe guide me. So I'm gonna stop sharing that. But that's just an example of the everyday synchronicity for ancient souls once they raise their frequency, clear their consciousness, and then just one of the things that you start affecting is like everything around you. But then also you have to have some discernment so that your energy doesn't get taken advantage of. And so that, because especially if you have a narcissist in your family or a friend that's a narcissist, once they come across one of these souls, they like to leech and suck it out of you. And there's so much energy that you have that you just afterward, it's like all of a sudden you depleted a nuclear power plant. Like, how can you deplete a nuclear power plant? Well, a narcissist can deplete a nuclear power plant, which are these starseeds.
Yes. Yeah.
So discernment and boundaries is very, very essential. Oh, I wanted to show one more thing really quick. Here's another one. Let me show my screen again. I had one more. Oh, here's the other one I wanted to share. Okay. So my husband and I, we're in Washington State, and we were not a fan of the mandates for the 2020-2021 vaccination campaign mandates. And we were not a fan of the passports to show your vaccination status in order to participate in society.
Yeah.
And they were starting to do that here in Washington State, in Seattle. And so we were not a fan of that. And so we started a initiative, a voter initiative. And because of all the censorship around it, we didn't reach the goal, but we ended up making a lot of really good friends and giving their experiences and their wisdom to a lot of different grassroots associations in Washington State. So they're picking it up and they're doing wonderful. But anyways, we had made the initiative, and the initiative is Initiative 1441 became Initiative 1853. So it's just a initiative to basically medical freedom. But that's the website, that's our initiative. So when we got the initiative, the state gave us our initiative number. Our initiative number was 1441. Okay, now here's the thing. I went on Twitter and they have the suggested things that come up. And on my Twitter feed, this came up. And it was somebody had put a picture of their passport, of their grandparents' passport from Germany, where they had to show your passport of your vaccination status in order to participate, in Germany during the Holocaust. And when I had looked at it, it had gotten hearted 1441 times, 1,441. What is the likelihood that the state issues me 1441 as the initiative number, and then this comes up on my feed, 1441 heart, that this is leading to the same thing. You need to stop this. So this was like my signal from the universe. You need all hands on deck. You're on the right track. Please don't give up. So and we didn't give up. So I'm gonna stop sharing that. And people could do whatever they want. It's their body, it's their life. I totally respect that. But the passports and the mandates was going too far, and it was repeating that cycle. And synchronicity is angel communication, and it was telling me, yes, you're on the right track. And so in those situations, I look for those kind of guidance. So that's one of the angel communications, one of the techniques of angel communication. Do you do that in your life? Do you get that too?
It happens to me a lot too. It happens to me a lot with the numbers. Definitely, it's like every day.
It doesn't become that miraculous. It becomes like going, oh, okay, signpost.
This happens a lot. That's the one thing, and then the other thing is this is my personal experience with the angels. It seems like some angels, I don't know how with the other people. This is just for me, for myself. Some angels, I ask help. They ask whatever I needed. They just helped right away. The other ones is like, hello, are you there? Did you hear me? Somehow I'm not that much connected, or I don't know, maybe I should ask different way. But some of them, yes. And then they can just answer right away. But the synchronicity, I know, is from the from here. And also, for example, texting, like you text in the same time, like in the same moment. And especially if the other person is psychic too, like we are sending first. And then in the past, we don't make the phone calls so much nowadays, but when we call, like in the same moment, calling the same person, or you're on
the same wavelength.
Or the same, thinking the same people, or let's say something happened to the people that in my mind, and good or bad, I feel it and I call or text and say it. But the angels, yeah, they it seems like they are always on duty, and then they are, like they know what is important thing for you now, and then if that is especially not for the personal thing that let's say your work, like your work, right? And that's so important, and then they give you more message, they make sure that you are on it, and then you know that. And or let's say I'm working on some channeling and I'm asking a question I want to know, and not because of my curiosity, it's just like a building this more information to put together the whole what's going on, and then they just jump in and help. Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. See, I haven't really got into the channeling. I kind of don't want any other like voices in my head. I'm just kind of, but I have asked questions and will automatically like. It basically sounds like when you talk to source or you talk to spirit in the other side, different dimensions, and you ask a question, like you focus on what you're asking and you just open and receive.
You just get it.
It's going to sound like basically you answering yourself because it is you. There are aspects of you. But again, there's discernment as well, because you don't always follow every single thought that you have. You have to also discern, okay, that's an interesting thought. Okay, that's interesting. Let me weigh my options and make the decision, because you are playing it in real time as well. This has been so much fun, Nur. Let me ask you this. Do you have a last message for people, realizing that they're starseeds, living life like this, and maybe regular people who have a starseed in their family, and how they can interact a little bit more healthy with their starseed family member, because everybody has at least one starseed oddball in their family.
Yes.
Whether it's your grandparents, your daughter, your great grandkids, whatever.
Yes.
So, what's your last message for these Tulku people?
Yeah, so the beautiful days are coming. It's not just for this planet, for the whole universe. The changing, and it's already started. That's change, and the balance will be better, and then the good side will be more balanced. So the help is coming from inside, like with us, and then outside, and then the whole system. The source that they created this universe is already started this action. So it's not like anything that will stop or anything will change. It will happening. So so basically with that, everybody will be more psychic, will be open more, and that they will learn and access who they are more. It will be easier, and then more, and then even average Joe will learn more about themselves too. So it's happening. And then hopefully that more and more people will appreciate for this change. And I think it's more people will be starting getting more awakening, more suspicious and more into it. And then hopefully that the mainstream, the starseeds will be mainstream, and then will be understand that, oh, this is why they are here, and then helping, and then all these details will be more part of our real life.
Right. Well, that's a beautiful message, Nur. I love that. And there's a starseed in every family. So look around. You you think they are, they probably are. But there is one in every single family. And for everybody else, don't be afraid to work on those dark, unresolved issues, and let your starseed family member help you to heal that. Let them help you to understand kind of your hangups with life. Let go of that negative karma, that tension, that old life lesson that keeps on reiterating lifetime after lifetime in the wheel of dharma. Let it go, and just with the starseeds energies are trying to pull everybody up with them, because they're gonna go regardless.
It is it's gonna happen. Like there's all this blockage will remove, and then they will start to see the reality, and it's just happening. Like the source, for example, it's just experiencing the things. When it's
Mhm.
experience, we all experience.
Yep.
It's not like I have the consciousness. We are the consciousness. We are made of consciousness. Everything. So it's not about perfection. It's not about control.
Mhm.
It's just experience, move on. Experience, move on. It doesn't matter if good or bad. Just experience. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. And I think the time to get triggered and just be stuck in uh your old patterns that haven't worked and just be angry at the old storylines that haven't worked out, it's time to just let that all go. You did your best you
Exactly. Just
can.
move on. Yeah.
Yeah, you did the best that you can. Let it go, forgive them. You tried, move on, and wish them the best. And when you let them go, maybe they will raise their consciousness and clean up their consciousness and raise their energy along with you. And before you know it, it's almost like two boys in the playground who used to fight, and they just we saw before you know it, by the end of recess, they're best friends. Like, weren't you guys fighting in the beginning of recess? And they don't remember what they were fighting about, but they're now best buds.
Yes, exactly. I
That's
mean,
exactly it.
yeah, because I think it's Starseeds are looking at everything as energy level and frequency level. Like, when you're channeling, for example, you don't have a body, you don't have a title, you are nobody. You are just like maybe an energy ball, or like maybe that dot size. Like you can experience nobodiness, all these things. And then the humans are so stuck on, the 3D world. And then if they can, think about and then looking at things in that way, everything is a little bit so different.
Yeah. It's a game and we're the stars.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, Miss Nur Akman, this was an insightful conversation pertaining to a huge population of Tulku worldwide. So we covered a lot of ground in understanding the Starseed, Indigo, Crystal, Tulku, whatever you want to call it, mission to explore the multiverse and raise consciousness into higher dimensions with Earth. So again, for more information about Nur Akman's offerings, please visit her website, which is also in the show description, but it's Nur Akman, the number 8.com. And you can also find links to her books. And I think she's going to be starting a podcast for Starseeds to just talk about their experience about jesting and what they're coming across as well. So, with that, thank you kindly for listening to another enlightening conversation. Until next time, blessings.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of Merkaba Chakras, where we talk Buddhism in the 5th dimension. For more information about today's guest, please go to the show description. For more information about Vaughn's metaphysical work, please go to merkabachakras.com. The views expressed today are for entertainment purposes and do not necessarily reflect the views of the host or replace any medical or legal advice. Don't forget to subscribe for more interviews about the 5th dimension. Until we meet again, blessings.